particular device or that particular person. So this is making sure that whatever you are sending is encrypted and nobody will understand it apart from the person it is intended to. So we have a lot of them. We have the SSL, that is secure socket layer or the transport layer security, and these provide encryption and secure communication over the internet, protecting the data from interceptions and somebody trying to alter it. So I believe you know what an encryption is. That is to change the plain text that you are sending to somebody to an unreadable form. Okay, that is what we call the ciphertext. That is a form that when somebody see, that is the person that is not supposed to see the message. Even when the person receive it, it will be in some form of numbers and Chinese characters and other stuff, depending on the way you encrypt it. Okay. So one common example of encryption is you have a key and the key is 3, which means instead of A, you use C. Okay. So you count from A, 1, 2, 3, and C will be the third one. So instead of A, you use C. Of C, you use a different value. So it is only the person that is receiving this data that knows the key to the encryption, and the person should be able to decrypt it. That is to convert it back to what? Plain text. And that is why you see something like end-to-end encryption on your WhatsApp or whatever you are using. Basically, on WhatsApp, we have something we call end-to-end encryption. But the only thing is that decryption is not done by you. It is automated so that when the text gets to you, it will be what? Decrypted, and you receive it the same way the person sent it. So that is why we have something we call end-to-end encryption on WhatsApp. Please, any question? By the way, hold on, I'm coming just for a minute. Hello?
Hi,
Hello?
sir.
Yes, please, any question up to this point?
No,
Please, any
sir.
question? Yes. So this protocol, we like as I said earlier on, we have what we call protocol suite, and each that is when you go to a we have people that serve drinks, people that serve food and other stuffs. So every protocol and then the specific task that it performs. Here, when you look at the SMTP, that is Simple Mail Transfer Protocol, that is responsible for what you sending an emails, and we have /https for web browsing and communication. We have STP, SMTP. We have POP and IMAP for email communication. We have what we call FTP, that is for file transfer. We have earlier on, you type google.com, and it is the work of that to map it to the IP address for what, or the IP address to what? Google. And then we have TCP or UDP for data transfer. And then we have IP. So the IP here, we have IPv4 and then IPv6, of which I believe you'll be doing that in networking and for addressing and then routing. So the IPv6 uses hexadecimals, and the IPv4 uses binary. And then we have ICMP for network management and error reporting. And then we have BGP for routing between networks. So basically, these are some of the protocols on the internet. That is, when you are doing something, by all means, you are making good use of one of these protocols. Okay, so these are some of the rules guiding you to transfer data from one device to another, from one place to another, from one person to another. Okay, so any question up to this point? I think we are moving to the 3W. Hello? Hello?
Hi.
Yeah, please, any question up to this point? All right. If there is no question, I continue. I might not be able to finish everything, and wherever we get to, I think it will be your work to continue with that, because I am told to take you to one A and then 1B. But looking at the number of slides, it seems to be something else. Hello?
Hello, sir.
Yeah, sorry, I did a mistake. So we have the World Wide Web, and anyone here with the idea of what the 3Ws are? Anyone with the idea, with an idea on what the 3W is? What is the World Wide Web? Hello?
Yes, sir.
So please, there's a
Hello?
Yes, sir. We are there, sir.
Hello, please, can you hear me? Yes.
sir, we can hear you, but your line is not stable. We can hear you, but your line is not stable. It's kind of breaking.
Yeah, so what is the World Wide Web? Anyone with an idea?
Okay, sir.
Please, can you hear me? Yes. Hello.
Yeah. So yeah.
Please, are you talking?
Yeah, I want to, but it's like I don't want a clash. So that's why when you attempt to talk, I mute.
Yeah. So you say, just say whatever you want to say, please.
So World Wide Web is, I think, it's a service under the internet, and it contains
Okay.
resources that are interrelated.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Yes.
it's a service
So
under the internet. It's one of the service under the internet.
let's look. Let's just take the uh World Wide Web to be something like, you see, the internet is just like a road. Okay. So let's say the road from Cape to Accra. But if any vehicle or whatever kind of any means that you can use to get to what Accra. So now the internet is just the road that you are seeing, and then the web, and then the World Wide Web is the, let's say, the vehicles that takes you from Cape to Accra, from Accra to Tekrade and other stuff. Okay, so it is the largest part of the internet. So the World Wide Web, often referred to the web, is a major component of the internet. It is a collection of what interconnected documents and resources, and that is linked through a hyperlink and access. I'm just trying to get a stable network. So please, and that is accessed via a web browser. Web browsers like the Microsoft Edge. We have Chrome. We have Firefox and other stuff. So these are some of the web web browsers, and that is what help us to get our resources on the internet. Please, can you hear me? Hello.
Yes, please, we can hear you.
Yes, sir, you can be heard loud and clear.
Okay. So it is a collection of interconnected documents and resources linked through the hyperlink and accessed via the web browsers. Okay, so the web browsers is just the user interface or the UI or the interface that you see, and then you navigate through the World Wide Web. Okay, so this is done with the help of the web browsers. So when you are using the Firefox, Microsoft Edge, and any of the browsers to access resources, informations on the network, you are using what we call the World Wide Web. That is with the help of the web browsers. So Tim Berners-Lee proposed for the World Wide Web, and he is the founder of the three Ws. And that was in March 1989, that outlined a system that will allow scientists to share and access information easily across the internet. Okay, so just a road. We assume the internet to be a road, and the the three W's serves as the mechanism through which we move from one place to the other with the help of the web browsers. Now we have a brief history of that, and that is key web standards and technologies such as HTML, and that is actually what is going to be what we are going to do in this course, and that is hypertext markup language, which means it is a markup language. And then we have the hypertext transfer protocol. We have the URL, Uniform Resources Locator, were all developed and refined. And I believe you know what the work of the HTTP, and then so we have another one here that is URL, that is Uniform Resource Locator. So that is something like a links that you click that take you from wherever you are to a particular part of it, or a website or whatever you are using. That is with the help of URLs. Those of you who are software developers, I think you'll be making good use of this with your APIs and other stuff. You use the URL to link to that. Instead of getting yourself a data source or a server, you can link your software or whatever you are building to a particular server, so that is where it will be fetching your data and information from. So the late 2000 brought the rise of Web 2, characterized by a user-generated content, and we have social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, and interactive web applications. Okay, and we have the concept of the Web 3.0, often associated with semantic webs, aim to make web content more machine readable and intelligent. Ongoing development include technologies like HTML5. You get to know this when we get down the service, the slide. So as I said earlier on, we have web browsers, and here we have Safari, we have Firefox, we have Chrome, we have Edge, Microsoft, and Opera Mini. So web browsers are the softwares applications used to access and navigate the World Wide Web. Okay. So you communicate through the three W's with the help of the web browsers. Okay, and I believe you know what the web browsers are you've been using, and we are using one already because I am using Microsoft Edge now, and I believe you are using one as well. So these are some of the features of a web browser. So we have the rendering engine, and then these browsers use engines to interpret and display the web content. The most common one is the Blink, used by Google. So that is what Google used. That is the Blink, and then we have WebKit used by Safari, and then we have Gecko that is used by what Mozilla. That is used by what Mozilla Firefox. Okay, and as I said earlier on, it has a very nice user interface. You can move from one place to another, and the interface is usually user friendly. That is, it helps you not to make mistakes when you are doing something. Let's say you are visiting a site that will not help you. You see prompt and other stuff. When you are trying to delete something, it helps you make sure that what you are going to delete shouldn't be something you should delete, and all those stuff. So we have the web browser, that user-friendly interface that allow users to enter website addresses, that is the URL, navigate through the web pages, and then manage bookmarks and tabs. I believe you know that you are using one at the moment, just like the way I'm using Microsoft Edge. So the features continue. We have the navigation. So it's that you can move, you click, move from one part of it to another, back and forth, and a lot of stuff that you do. You navigate, that is moving from one place to another, either front, back, or whatever you are doing. That is what we call navigation. And we have security. So browsers implement security measures to protect users from malicious website and other stuff. It makes sure that your data and whatever you are doing, those things are secured and encrypted for what transactions. And so including features like pop-up block. So instead of sometimes when you are using the web browsers, you want to click on a particular link or you want to go somewhere, it tells you that this link is not secured, especially when you're having firewalls on your browser, or when you turn on the security tools. This will be helping you, and then it will even block some of the things that they know that when you visit the site, you are likely to be prone to malware and other stuff. And then we have cross platforms, so you can browsers are available on a range of platforms, including Windows, Mac, Linux. So instead that someone can use, well, I'm using Firefox on Windows, and I believe you can equally use that on Mac OS. You can use that on Linux. You can use that on iOS and Android and other stuff. So that is what we call cross-platform compatibility. It's not limited to only one particular web browser or only one distant operating system. You can use it on all the operating systems available. Now, as I mentioned earlier, we have the URL, and that is the Uniform Resources Locator. Okay, so this is just the kind of links we click and it takes us to the So it's a web address used to identify a resource on the internet. URLs are fundamental means by which a web access a website, web pages, files, and other stuff. When someone sends you a link, in fact, that particular link is what we call the URL. And mostly it has a lot of components, some few components, and this is basic. That is the one in red color is one of the way that you see a URL to appear. That is the scheme. We have the object and then the address. So the scheme here specify the protocol or the method used to access the resources. Common scheme include HTTP, HTTPS, FTP. So when you are going with emails, when you're going with files and other stuff, so it is the responsibility of the scheme to suggest the kind of protocol you should go by. And the scheme is followed by a colon and 2/. So that is why you always have some things like when you see a link, most of the links, you have HTTPS, and mostly we consider the S at the end because that makes it secure. And not always, but most of the HTTPS are the secure URLs. That is, it makes sure that your data is encrypted and other stuff. Now we have the host. The host component identify the location of the resources. So this one, you said that in all the links you have the HTTPS and other stuff, but the host is what actually defines where or the specific location of the resources that you are looking for, typically in the form of what domain name. So it will be using the domain name like www.example.com, and this domain name will be matched to the IP address of that particular website or whatever you are going to visit. So let's say if this is google.com, it will match that to the IP address of Google, and you should be able to visit Google with the domain name. So the host can also include subdomains like blogs, and that is further specifying the particular thing that you are looking for on the internet. So basically, this is how a URL looks like. You have HTTP, and then column, you have // and then the domain name, and then you have the info reset, and then index.html. So this is the part. The first one is the protocol, that is the text transfer protocol that is using here, which is not secure. And then we have the host, that is UCC website, and then we have the part of whatever you are looking for. Okay. Please, any question up to this point? Hello? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Yeah, I see.
Please, any question up to this point?
So I would like to ask if you are using
Okay.
the mobile app, like maybe Facebook, it means
Okay.
you are not using the www World Wide Web, right?
No, you are using it is a link, right? Right?
Okay. But I think in most cases we ask people to use the web, which means they should go straight on the website, not the app. Or is there any major difference between the app and then the web?
You can use your phone to visit the website, or you can do that.
I can do that, but we
And you
have
can use
mobile
the
app.
we.
So
Mhm.
is there the difference between the mobile app and then the web?
Good. So you see, I mentioned something like those of you who are into software engineering and software building and other stuff, development and other stuff. Sometimes you build your app and then you use what we call the URL. Okay. So you give the link to that, and once the person click on that particular link, it takes the person to the website or the content of the website. Do you understand? So you
Yes,
will not
please.
be the one to define the information that the person is going to get, but this API will help you, or with the link will help you, and that particular website will not be serving as the server that will be providing you with the information that you want. You understand? So when you click the links, search, or the server gets the information from the website and give it to you. So you wouldn't have to feed it with all the necessary information about the website. You just use the link as your server, or you use it as your server, and then once you click on that, it is the work of the API to fetch the information from wherever you are or wherever the link is addressing to, and give you the feedback, not necessarily going to visit the website.
Okay, thank you.
You understand? Like you see some people connected their I'm coming, please. Let me plug mine. Hello. Hello.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Hello,
Sir.
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes. So basically, did you get what I was trying to explain? So the website will now be the server or wherever the thing of your information is, and when you search what is a noun, that is where it will go and then fetch the information of what a noun is and display that to you. Not basically you have to give the system what a noun is or to feed everything. So basically, this is what most of the software engineers do. And you might think if the app or whatever you are doing is the one feeding you with the info, but it is also getting the info from somewhere like what the name chat gpt. You can ask chat gpt to get you information on a particular university, and you see that it will be doing something like searching and other stuff, and at the end of the day it will give you some feedback. Have you ever seen that?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So that is what basically is doing there. So we have, please, any other question?
Yes, please.
Okay, what's the question?
Yes, it's about the HTTP and then the HTTPS.
Mhm.
And the one with the S is the secured one, and the one without the S is the not secured.
Yes,
I
please.
want to ask if
You see,
you have a
I'm
site.
not like it's not basically saying that the one without S is not secure, but you see, we have something we call substantiating of hurdles. Now, this one has been given another level of what security that involve
Okay.
encryption of whatever you are sending. So, if you are sending a file to somebody, this will make sure that that file is encrypted. So, even if at the end of the day someone is able to get access to it, the person will not understand the content of it.
Okay.
Do you understand what I'm saying? No, but
Yes, I
like you
understand.
continue with yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Uh,
So
I only wanted to find out how to get that level of security, because sometimes you have a site and then I don't know if some of my colleagues had an experience. Yes,
please, I'm listening to you.
on the address they'll write this writing, small writing that your connection is not secure. So your credit card numbers or your email you use on the site, it's only written there. So I wanted to just find out if there is a way, if it is not secured, you get that level of security.
And are you the one? Are you the owner of it?
Yes.
So what you have to do is to add some encryption like capabilities, so that whatever you are doing, when the person enter the credit card numbers and other stuff, it will be converted to ciphertext. That is from the plain text. It will be converted to what ciphertext. And even if somebody sees it, the person will still not understand whatever you have entered. Do you understand? So let's say your password or your credit card number is 123456789 or ABCD. So this will be converted to a particular form that even if somebody get access to that your credit card number, he will not be able to understand, depending on the kind of encryption algorithm that you use. Yes, so you will have to add some other level of security, like encrypting the text or the password and other stuff.
Wow. Okay.
Please, any other question? Is it that you can build a website or a small app and your password, you can choose not to encrypt your password. You have something like Bicrypt or something like that. You can invoke or revoke this kind of functionality, and then when the person enter the password, this password will be converted to the kind of text that even if somebody get access to that, the person will not be able to understand the password unless the person know the key or the what's the name, the encryption algorithm you use. And even if the person know the encryption algorithm, the person needs to know the key and whichever way you encrypted it before the person will be able to understand it. Yeah. Please, any other question? Please, any other question? Hello,
Yes, sir.
can we go on?
Yes, please. Let's proceed.
All right. Okay. So we have the port. Honestly, these kind of things are just readable and other stuff. You know how a URL means, and we have the slash and other stuff, what it means. So the port is an optional component that specifies the network port on the host to which the client should connect to. Okay, so and if not specified, the default port for the chosen scheme is 80 for HTTP and then 443 for HTTPS. So this is just the port, and I believe you know this, the port numbers and other stuff. If you don't, maybe you do that in networking. And then we have the part that is the directory, wherever that particular resources is located, and this is separated by a /. And then we have the query. The query component often preceded by a question mark and allow you passing your argument and parameters to the resources. And it typically used in the web address to send data to the server, especially in the dynamic web applications and other stuff. So this is just explaining the part of the URL. And then we have something we call multi-purpose internet mail extension, which is being abbreviated as MIM or MIMI. And it is the work of this that, or because of this, that nowadays, if you are sending an email to somebody, you can add some functionality like changing the text appearance, the font, whichever way you want, the font type, the font color, the size, and other stuff. Okay, so more that is a standard that extends the format of email messages to support text in characters set other than the ASCII, and then the attachment of Word files and other stuff. So this is the work of the MIM to make sure that you can attach files and other stuff. Okay, so that now you can send an email to somebody and attach a file, an audio, and a lot of stuff. So it is the MIM that is adding some extra functionality to that. And we have aspect of the MIM that is character encoding. Sorry. So we have that one, which enables that to exchange of mail messages in character set other than the traditional ASCII method. So this is adding some human readable functionality that you can add some other characters other than the traditional ASCII. And I believe you know what the ASCII means. Hello, do you know that? Hello?
No, please. No, please.
Did you do programming techniques?
Yes,
Hello?
yes, we did that. We did that.
Did you do introduction
Yes,
to computing?
Yes, we did that.
You did introduction to computing.
Introduction to computing, I'm not sure. It's introduction to
No.
programming and introduction to
Programming 1 and 2.
Programming 1 and 2. And you said you didn't do anything like ASCII.
programming and then programming.
Did you do something like American Standard Code for International Interchange?
No.
You've never heard of something like this?
Oh, no.
Yeah, so this is
Oh, we have heard it. We have heard it before.
I'm surprised if you say you didn't hear something like this. It looks some way. So that is international American Standard Code for International interchange, and this actually includes something like uppercase. We have lowercase, and then we have digit and some special characters control this thing. But you see that when you come to Ghana here, we have some tree words and tree words that are not like the English characters and other stuff. Have you ever seen that?
Yes, please.
We have some characters in like alphabet, tree alphabet, or different language alphabet, and we don't have it as what's the name? We don't have it in the English. What the name characters?
Sure,
I don't just know the one, but you will see that our ABCDs, that is like the three ABCDs and other stuff. There are some characters like that is some of the alphabet that are not the same as the A to Z.
Yes,
Yeah,
like oh,
Yes.
Yeah.
oh,
Good. The inverted C. You see that? So this has given it another extra functionality that you can add that kind of text and other stuff. So now you can chat somebody in tree and other stuff. But when we're using the first ASCII mini, it means you can't type any other character other than the ASCII, whatever the ASCII was specified. Okay, like they are A to Z, they are 1 to 3 to the N, they are special characters that you can only work with. But now you can type in tree and other stuff. So this is one of the extra functionality that the MIM has added. And then we have text and HTML. that allow inclusion of both plain text and HTML content in the email. And then we have attachments, and then we have multi-part messages. So we are just getting to the HTML and you understand certain things. Now we have what we call web hosting. If you are done with your web app or whatever you are building, any system, your website and whatever you are building, you need to host it so that people can access it on the internet. And that is what we call web hosting. Okay. So web hosting is a service that allows an individual and organization to make their website or web application accessible on the internet. Okay, so now you can download WhatsApp on the internet, you can download Facebook and other stuff. People can access things on Telegram and other stuff because it has been hosted. Most of you have your applications and other stuff. Like myself, I built for my undergraduate, I developed a currency detection system for the visually impaired. And this app is only used by me because I have not hosted it. But if I host it today, you can sit at wherever you are, go to wherever you can download it, and you can equally make good use of it. And we have types of hosting. We have the shared hosting. We have the VPS. Please, some of these things, I would like you to just read it. It's readable and other stuff. Because the slide is 51 pages and we are on the 16th one. So this is not something that you have to struggle just from reading. And then we have dedicated hosting. So you can, not all the apps that you can access or you can download on the internet, some of them, the person can host it, and any like whoever you are, you can go and download the app and make good use of it. But some of them are restricted to a particular group of people and other stuff. So when you are hosting, you give this kind of priority and this kind of access to the people who can go and download it and other stuff. And we have free hosting, so with some limited features and other stuff. Like what's the name, ChatGPT, you can use it and they'll tell you that you have to pay $20 before you can use ChatGPT version 4.5 or something like that. And some of them you can, with your hosting, you just limit some kind of functionalities that the person can use it. But if the person is trying to go extra mile, you have to pay to have a full access to that and other stuff. So you just go through that. We have okay, please. I believe you can read on this. It's just the form of a hosting. Can you do that?
Yes, please. Yes, sir.
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
Let's go.
Yeah. So we have domain name. Okay. You see now, before you can host something, you need to have a domain. Okay, like Google, we have google.com, and that is actually the domain name, but this will be matched to the actual IP address for google.com. Okay, so a domain name is a user-friendly, a human-readable address that is used to access the website and other resources on the internet. It serves as a way to locate and identify the web pages or online services. And the key point about domain is we have the structure. We have the structure, like I said, for google.com. The domain name are structured in hierarchical manner with the most specific part of it at the right and the most general part of it at the left. So the structure is read from right to left. For example, in the domain name, so if they're saying it is read from right to left, which means .com, .example.www. You understand that? And then the com is the topmost level. and that is and then the example is the second level, okay, and then this one is the subdomain. So the the three W's is what we call the subdomain, and then and then the example is the second level domain, and then the com, that is COM, is the top level domain. So the hierarchy is read from the what, left to what, to right. Okay, sorry, right to left, which means you have to start from what, com dot example dot www dot root. And that is the structure of how a domain is. So you know what it means now. So the three W's is what we call the subdomain, and then the example is what we, so when we have something like www.google.com, so the .com here or the com here will be the what, the top level, and then Google will be the what, the second level, and then the www would be the subdomain. So we have the top level domain, and that is the com here. So the top level domains are the highest level of the domain name hierarchy and are located in the right of the last dot. Okay, so after this dot, when we have www.google.com, okay, so after the last dot, and then whatever follows, that is the com here. And in some instances or in some cases, you see something like organization, that is org, and then you see something like net and country code like UK and other stuff, and that is UK for United Kingdom. You have DE for Germany, and then you have GP for Japan, you have GH for Ghana, and so on. So these are some of the top levels domain. That is what follows immediately after the last dot. So it's not always the case that you see .com. Some you see .gh, some you see .org, you see .net and other stuffs. You see some .app, you see some .blog and gurus and other stuff. So then we continue. And then the second level domain are the part of the domain name directly to the left of the top level domain.
Sir.
Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Just a quick question. With
Okay.
the top level domain, let's say for example, ucc.edu.gh. In this case, is it the edu that becomes the top level or the gh that becomes the top level?
So now listen. The top level is the one that follows immediately after the last dot. So which one follow immediately after the last dot?
The gh.
Yeah, so that is it.
So in this case, the edu here now becomes the what's the name? The second level domain.
Yes. So that is at the left. So you just have to follow. They said the top level. Okay. So the second level are the part of the domain name directly to the left of the what, top level domain. Okay, which means that one follows. That is when you are counting from the right. That is what is next after the. And then we have the subdomain are used to create additional sections or division within the domain. For instance, we have www in this, which is a subdomain used for World Wide Web, and blog in blog.example.com would be subdomain used for blog associated with the website and other stuff. Now, we have what we call domain name system, as I explained earlier on. The DNS is a distributed hierarchy system that translates the human readable domain name into IP addresses. So when you type this, there is an IP address, and that is the address that specifically point to a particular organization or wherever or the site that you are going to visit. Okay, so what you have to do is to type www.google.com, and then when you click on that, that will take you to Google. But behind the scene or at the back end, this this www.example or google.com will be converted to the actual IP address before before it will lead you to wherever that particular URL will take you to, or that particular domain is pointing to. How it goes. So this will, even though you will type it in human readable form, but this will be what this will like change it to the IP address of it. Okay, so it will match that to the IP address of whatever you are looking for. But you just type use google.com, and then there is an IP address for that. So instead of keeping google.com in mind, or like searching for something about Google with google.com is something people can understand or keep off head easily than using the IP address of Google. Okay, so that is basically what the domain name system means, and allowing computers to locate and communicate with each other on the internet. Now we have HTTP headers. Okay, so before we move, we start, we continue. I believe we are supposed to end the class around 4 p.m., right? Hello, who is the
Yes.
course rep?
Yes. It's 4 p.m.
Who is the course rep? So is there a way we can have the class 6 p.m., the next class? Or you guys will not be tired? Because it doesn't really make sense to attend a class for 4 hours at the, like, people will be fed up
We are
with
not
it.
clear. We are not clear about what you want us to do.
What I'm saying is, it means the class we have to start from now to 4 p.m., right?
Exactly. So.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what I'm trying to say is, maybe we should give ourselves some break, and instead of starting the next class for the other 2 hours, we start the class at 6 p.m. so that we can have some 2 hours break.
Oh, okay.
That won't be bad.
Now let me understand. Me, I'm good to go, but I just look at it to be that a student being on a class or a lecture for 4 hours is something that you might even forget of the class and other stuff.
So what you are trying to say is that means if we all agree, we can stop at 2, then come back at 6 to start. Or
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
that won't be
So
bad.
the class is in 2 sections, because we taking the class for 2 hours. The 4 hours is, I don't have problem, but if you guys are strong enough to go about that, if you guys are strong enough to go, and then we have nothing to do, then to continue. So what are you suggesting?
So let's break at 2 and come back as you are saying.
Is that what everyone is saying?
Yes.
I personally also agree with the 2.
Yes, sir, it's good. It's
good. Then those of us who agree, let's give a thumbs up so that we see the number.
That's what Tom's.
But I think we have to notify the monitor so that he will be around that time to do the recording as well, because of network challenges, not everyone that will be able to participate during that time. And I believe this time around the lesson is being recorded, so maybe that time
You
to
have the slide. You have the slide. So what's the problem again? This is not something like calculations and other stuff. All the slides. This is. because I don't see the slides are user friendly. You can easily read that and understand. So,
Okay, sir. Let's continue.
so what the panel say?
So we'll stop at 2.
You stop at 2 and come back 6.
Okay. Now we start something else. We have what we call HTTP header status or status, or whichever way you call it. And that is when you are searching for something on the internet or you click on a link. You see that sometimes you click on a link and the link will give you something like error 400.
I can't see you.
Hello? Hello? Please, can you hear me?
So let's go on.
So we can hear you. Yes, we can.
And can you see my screen?
Yeah,
Yes. So you see that when you click on some link, it will give you some 400 error. Have you ever seen that error 400?
Yeah. Yes.
Yes. Have you ever seen that?
Yes.
So it is something we call bad request, or maybe when you are, it means you are requesting for something for the server to do for you. And if that request is not successfully, you are going to get an error. And that is what we call 400 error. And this is the most common error that people normally have. But this one, when you are dealing with, I'll start over though. When you are building your own applications and other stuff, you see that when you run the code, especially when you are using VS Code and Python with Flask and other stuff, you see that the status of whatever you have done will be in your CMD, that is your terminal, will be in your terminal. Have you ever seen something like that? Those of you who have ever worked on code and other stuff.
Yes.
Yes, so you see sometimes you see 400, sometimes you see 200, and sometimes you see 300 and other stuff. You see 302 and a lot of stuff. So these are some of the things that tells you that the request that you have made was successfully, the request was unsuccessfully and other stuff. But this doesn't just state that, it gives you a particular number and that number signifies or tells you something. So that is what we call HTTP header status. And these codes are 3-digit numbers the server sent in response to a client request to a server, to a web server. They provide information about the outcome of the request. So example of the status code is, we have the successful QXX, and that is 200. Those within the range of 200. So this status code indicates that the request was received, understood, and successfully processed. So common example include, that is the 200. When you see a status that gives you 200, okay, so it means the request was successfully. And then when you see 201, that is created, a new resources was successfully created. Are we good? Those of you who have ever run a mobile app, or you have ever worked with a web-based, I don't know whether I can show that on my VS Code. Let me see if I can share that with you, and then I'll run the code and you see the status of that. So come on. Well, it's still loading, so let's continue, and then maybe if it works, I display that, I share that with you, and then you know what it means. And we have another one. We have that one, redirection, and that one go with 300. That is 3xx. So this code indicates that further action is needed to complete the request. Common example include 301. So the 301 then move permanently. The requested resources has been moved to a different URL permanently. So this means that whatever you are requesting has been moved to a particular URL, a different URL, and you can access it with the current URL that you are using. Okay. And then we have 302 found or 307 temporary redirect, and the requested resources is temporarily located at a different URL. So the 301 means that you have to get a new URL before you can access whatever you are requesting. But with this one, it means that as time go on, or when you try later, you will get that request because the request has been given a different URL temporarily, which means it will be back to its normal URL. And you can use the same URL to do the request, or you can request it with that particular URL. And but one, we are talking about the 301, it means you need a new URL, or you need to do the request from the new URL that it has been moved to permanently. Are we good? Let me see. I think I'm trying to see. I'm trying to run my small system B so that you can see how it works. Okay, so let me try to okay, so let me do this. Can you see my screen? Hello, please, can you see my screen? Yes, you can see something like admin login, right?
Yes, please.
Yes, so 1, 2, 3. I've made a request and it tells me invalid admin credentials. So let me try and see if I can display my terminal and you see how or the error messages that I'm getting. Hello, can you see my screen?
Yes, please. We can.
The VS Code interface. You can see that, right?
Yes.
Yes, so you
Yes,
can
please.
see that I have something like get style something like, and it is 200. Another one, post admin login HTTP, that is /1.1. You have something like 302, and then get admin login HTTP, and then it is 200. And then I have another one, get static /style.css http.1.1 and it is 304. Can you see that?
Yes.
Yeah, so these are some of the request status, and this will tell you that when it is this is that. When it is this is that. You said that you don't have to explain that your request is successfully, your URL has been moved to a permanent URL, or your request has been moved to a permanent URL and other stuff. Can you see something like that? No. So you only get to know that your request was successfully, unsuccessfully. You have to deal this just with the numbers, that is either 200, 300, or 400. That will tell you that what you are doing is this or that. You understand? Are we good?
Yes, please.
You can see it at the terminal.
Yes, please.
At the terminal. So this was a small attendance system I built, and that is it. So that is what we call the HTTP header status. All right. So now you said with my own, you saw something like 200. Okay, and then you have something like 201. We had something like 302 and other stuff. So the 200 means the request was successfully. The 201 means created, that is, a new resources was successfully created and other stuff. And then you have 300 when you are talking about redirection. So when you are talking about redirection, we have 300, that is from 300 something plus. And this will tell you whatever it means. So you need to know the status of your HTTP header, and you to explain that to yourself, because you are not going to have the meaning of that. You only see the numbers. And we have something like client error. So this could indicate that there was an error on the client side, which means that you are requesting for something that is, or you are given a wrong request and other stuff. So common example include the 400, and that is bad request. Mostly those that use the UCC e-learning portal, these are some of the errors you normally get. That is error 404. That is the most common one, especially if they are going to write a quiz. So you'll be working and all of a sudden you see something like error 404, which means not found. Now, so the 400 bad request, that is the server couldn't understand the client request. Okay, so the server doesn't understand what you are requesting for. And the 403 not found, that is not found. The request resources will not be found on the server. Okay, and then we have some others, that is the server error. That one go with 5 and some 2 numbers below, that is 500. So this would indicate that there was an error on the server side. So that one, the error is not from your side, the error is from the server side of it. And then we have something like 500 internal server error. Unexpected condition on the server prevented it from fulfilling the request. And we have something like 502, which is a bad gateway. I believe you've been saying this one too. That one is also common. The 500 and then 502, you've been saying that on a lot of sites and other stuff. So the 502, that is the bad gate. The server, while acting as a gate or a proxy, receive an invalid response from the upstream server. So the server sometimes equally make a request and give you, before it gives you whatever you are looking for. So if at the end of the day the server is not able to fetch that particular request from wherever it has to get that for you, you get something we call bad gateway. So this code helps both client and developers understand the result of the request, whether it has been successfully or there was an issue. And if there is an issue, was it from the client side, was it from the server side, and other stuff. So saying 500 or 5 with some additional numbers will tell you that the error is from the server side. And when you see something like 4 with some 2 additional numbers, that will tell you that the error is from the client. And when you see something like 3 with some 2 additional numbers, that is what you call redirection. This indicates further action is needed to complete the request. And I believe this is true. And we have successfully. And when you see something like 2 with some additional 2 numbers, that means that your request was successful. Please, any question up to this point? So when you are building your web app and other stuff, when you are seeing this kind of errors, the error doesn't come with the explanations. When you see the 3 digits, the digits to tell you that the error is from the client side, is from your side, what you have to do and what you don't have to do. It doesn't come with the explanations of it. It comes with the 3 digits, and that's to tell you where the error is from. Please, any question up to this point? Hello? Please, any question up to this point?
No, sir.
Oh, okay. So when you're building your web app, your website, or whatever you are doing, you have to be considering this kind of things. I've shown that to you on my VS Code. That's to tell you the kind of error you are working with and how to resolve that particular issue. Okay?
Sir.
Yes, sir.
Sir, to determine an error.
Okay.
Whether it's client or service error, a server error.
Okay.
I heard you are saying the 3 digits numbers.
Okay.
Tells you there is an error.
Yes, please.
But now I see
not always an error.
No, the 200 is successful.
Okay.
Yeah. Now I see 500. I see 5-2 as bad gateway.
Okay. So that is still 3 digits, Anna. That is 3 digits. We have 1, 5, and 2 zeros, and that is 3 digits, Anna. If I understand your question, or if I understood your question very well, you mean I said first that the numbers are supposed to be 3 digits, right? Hello?
The numbers are supposed to be 3 digits.
Okay.
Yes.
And all the numbers are 3 digits. There is no a number here that is more than 3 digits.
Yes. But now I see 500, I see 300, I see 400.
You see 500?
I see 500, I see 502, I see 403, 400, and 404.
Okay.
And they all mean different sort of errors.
Good.
Yes. So how do you determine? Is it 400 and then you move to 500? Each one have their various errors that it
means. Yes. So when you see that is when you see 200, that means it is successfully. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
But we have in different ways, and then when you see a redirection, that is taking you to a different URL. that is when you see 300, that is, it means that it is giving you some kind of redirections and other stuff. It's telling you that do this and other stuff. So you see that this code indicate that further actions is needed to complete the request. It means you have to do something further. Okay. So here, the 301 tells you that move permanently. So the request resources have been what moved to a different URL, which means you have to do another action. Okay. Either by using the new URL or by using the new URL. Okay. And then the 302 tells you that the URL is found, but it has been redirected or been relocated to a different URL, which means you can still use that particular link or whatever you are using to access it. But at that moment, it has been assigned to a different URL, and you can use it later on. But for the permanent one, it means you have to use a new URL or you have to make a different request.
Okay.
Okay. Yes. And then when you see 400, any number 4 with 2 additional numbers, that is 4xx. So the xx here means the 2 additional numbers. That is here we have 00, we have 03, and then 04. This means that there is an error on the part of you, the client. It means it's either you are making a bad request or you are making a request that you are not supposed to make. Okay. You see that when you are using any app applications and other stuff, you have a particular portion of it that you can access, not every aspect of it that you can access. Okay. And then we have another one, 400, which means what you are trying to request or what you want is not more available. Okay, so you are making a request of something that is not found on that particular server. Okay, but when you see 500, that means that, or 5 with some additional 2 numbers, that is telling you that the error is from the server, not from your end. Okay, so mostly those who are using UCC e-learning portal, these are the kind of errors we normally have when we are writing quizzes and other stuff. Yeah. Please, any other question? Please, you have to ask questions and.
Hello.
Yes.
Please, I want to know the error 504 on the server error. That one talks about what?
The 50
I don't know whether
what?
my net 504.
I don't have 504. We have 502.
Yeah, I know, but I've encountered that one some time back. I wanted to know that what error is that one? I know it's a server error because it's in the 500 category, but as to what specifically is it talking about, that I don't actually know.
You said 501.
4.
Okay. Well, there are a lot of these errors that maybe you have to go and find out what it means. So with the note I have here I have the 504 to indicate that this means that the server acting as a gateway or a proxy did not receive a timely response from the upstream server. So you see that when you make a request, it takes some time that you are given some particular time frame that you should get your response. So if at the end of the day, the time that you are supposed to get the response, you didn't get. Okay, so let me take it this way. So you see that when you make a request to a server, sometimes the server also do some requests. It will also get the request from somewhere. Now, if the server also make that kind of request, okay, and the time that it is supposed to receive the response and give you the output, if that time expired, so this is the kind of error you see. Okay, so that is something we call timeout. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, please. Yes, please. I've gotten it.
Yes. Yes. So it means the time, instead of when you are requesting for something and then you click and it will take a while before the thing or whatever you want pops out. But if the time that you are supposed to wait on receiving that expired, so this is the kind of error that you get. And that one is done by the server side. You know that servers communicate with each other in a way. So maybe that particular information or whatever you are requesting is not on that particular server, but the server will also have to make a request to get that. So if the time that the server is supposed to receive that response from wherever it makes that request, then you have this kind of error that tells you that the time out. So you can try again. You can try again.
Okay, okay, sir. A follow up, meaning that particular error depends on the type of server you are dealing with, because some of the site you can go there and you keep searching for something, it will keep loading now even for more than 30 minutes. Other sites you go and then within 2 minutes time or 5 minutes it will time you out, or maybe you try searching loading, then it will time you out because of.
So every server and the time limit that is been given, some can give you some time limit like 10 minutes, some 2 seconds, some 4 minutes, and other stuff. So it depends on the service. Okay, so this is not something, and sometimes it's your network, sometimes it's your network. Sometimes too, it's your network.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Sir, I think some of the causes of this 504 is server overload, network issue, and service configuration.
Yeah, so that's just what I told you. Sometimes it's from your network and other stuff. All right. Thank you very much for that. Now we have what we call web servers, and these are software applications or programs that are responsible for serving web content to the user's browsers when they request it. So now when you type something, this is what is responsible to give you the response that you requested. So when you ask what is a noun, that is a request that you have made, and it is the responsibility of the web server to give you that, to serve you the content that the user browses. That is when they request it. Okay, and then we have types of that. We have type of that. That is, we have Apache HTTP server, and it's one of the most widely used open source web server, which is also known for its stability and extensibility, making it popular choice for hosting web servers. And it supports varieties of programming models or language and other stuff. So which include, that is PHP, and then we have Python, and we have Perl. So you'll be doing PHP in this course, and that will be, I think that should be in Web Tech 2. And then you'll be doing Python. I don't know whether you do Python or not, but on campus here, you might not do Python, but you have to learn it on your own. And then we have Tomcat, and that is Apache Tomcat, often referred to as Tomcat. It's an open source application server and web server primarily used for hosting Java-based web applications. So mostly this depends on the kind of programming language and models that you are using. That tells you the server that will be responsible to do that. It means when you are running Tomcat with Python script and other stuff, it will not work for you because they are not compatible. Right now, they are not compatible, and mostly when you are dealing with Python, PHP, and other stuff, that is, you have to go with Apache. But I don't know, because in the world of computer science and IT and other stuff, things keep on changing and other stuff. So it means when you are dealing with something that is Java-based application, you have to go with Tomcat. And then when you are dealing with Python and other stuff, you have to go with Apache, HTTP servers, and other stuff. Now we have security. we have security, and
So please, I would like to ask a question.
okay.
On the web service, when I open my XAMPP control panel, XAMPP,
Okay.
I can see we have a model service, we have Apache, MySQL, the Tomcat over there. So
Okay.
the XAMPP control is performing the function of the server on your local
Good.
disk. Suppose
Yes.
if you want
Yes.
to host, suppose if
Good.
you want to host this with a XAMPP online, how do you go about it?
Yes, so the XAMPP is what helps you to run your application on your own device. So that time it is going to be a web. So this will help you with the database and other stuff. I hope you understand that.
Okay, yeah.
So this will be responsible for the database and other stuff. So sometimes it comes with all these things. So it depends on the programming languages or the model that you are working with. And I believe by default, this will choose that for you. And some crowd even work with the two of them. Okay, so let's say if you are dealing with any, it is the work of that the server to choose the one that it can work with that particular programming. So
thank you.
So it depends on that. Oh, yes, XAMPP is actually an example, but you can't host it online. That is, you are hosting it on your own PC or whatever you are using to help you with the database. Okay, that is when you have. Please, I'm coming. I'm chatting with madam. I'm coming. I'm chatting with madam. Hello. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Madam taught you this. Hello.
Hi.
Madam taught you this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, but why didn't you prompt me?
We are enjoying the class.
Oh. You're supposed to prompt me because I'm supposed to take you lecture 3A and 3B. Oh. Okay, I'm chatting with her. Who is the course rep? Course rep.
Please, I'm here.
So why didn't you prompt me?
I was thinking probably this might be different from what we know already.
But can't you see the slide? Was it not the same thing that she used?
Yes.
Oh, course rep, you didn't type.
So then I suggest with our second meeting, we touch on the ones you are supposed to do.
But why will you do this in the first place? At least prompt me. she taught up to even lecture 2 and 2A and 2B. So, oh. So also, hello.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes,
So
sir.
please, can we schedule time
To have it done.
Yes.
No problem, sir. That can be on Wednesday.
I'm coming. Just hold on. I'm still starting with you.
Okay. My people, I think will Wednesday be okay for us?
Wednesday, wait time, please.
I am looking at around 5 o'clock.
Please make it somewhere evening because from after 7 going will be fine.
7
Yes,
a.m.
can make it 6 or 7 to be okay.
Okay, sir. If only it wouldn't crash with any other lesson.
You
So
said
I
which
think,
time?
yeah, so we're looking at
7
around from 5 o'clock going or from 6 o'clock going. Because most of us are
PM.
working. Yes, please.
Yeah, Wednesday. I'm busy on Wednesday, but no problem. I'll do that.
Okay, sir.
Please say, I'm also
Yeah.
reading that if the slides for the unit 3A and 3B will be available for us so that some of us can read through before we start the lesson.
They are not. They don't allow us to give it to students before the time. So after the class, that we can send it.
Okay, please, I've heard you. Thank you.
So that's the reason why sometimes getting access to site becomes very difficult to answer. Oh, it's cool.
Of course, right. Okay, if we're on campus here, like the way on map here, you
Say
did
this
you hear?
one there. Say this one there. We beg.
What?
Say we'll make it up to you.
I'm coming. So I think we are done about this. You guys cry. What's wrong? Do you come to campus? Eh?
No,
Please, no.
no, strictly online.
Okay, so I think we are done with the first class, and let me see if we can do the second one for the So what we do is I'll take you to forms, okay? This
Alright.
evening, and then the remaining maybe we'll do that on Wednesday. Are we good?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
So who is playing music, or who is? Are you in a different class? Who is that? Course rep. Okay. So what we do is this evening we'll go. That is forms. Oh. Okay, no problem. So what we do is this evening we'll go with forms. That is 3A and Wednesday. But can't we make it tomorrow?
Sir, tomorrow we have class throughout.
Throughout the day.
Yes, sir.
Online classes.
Yes, please.
Okay, no problem. So who prompted Madam that we are doing A? Who is that? Is it a course rep?
Sir, I think earlier on somebody posted it on the message side that we are on tables, but then I couldn't say anything because I joined the class late, and I was not also privileged to join the first class. That was the first session, but the slide was there and I read it, so I wanted to raise that alarm, and the person said we are on tables. So I don't know what happened. I was having difficulty with my network, so I don't know whether that lesson was not taught. That's why you are coming
What
back. So I
happened when
didn't know.
your network was stable? What happened when your network was stable?
No, what I'm saying is that this one, it means that it was taught during the first week. That is what this it means. Because the second week I was there throughout, but the first week I didn't have the privilege to join. Right, but today when I joined later, and somebody posted on the comment section.
But
I
so
think
Madam did this with you, and you guys were responding some strange way. Okay, so no problem, no problem. We will. This evening is 6 p.m. right? We'll do
yes, sir.
3A, and that will be on forms, and we'll do the 3B on the course of the week. Okay. So you said on Wednesday time.
We're looking at 6 again, sir.
Okay. Okay, no problem. All right. Thank you very much for joining, and see you this evening.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your time.
Hello, sir. Sir Ransford.
It's awful.
How do we contact him? That's a problem.
Well, I think maybe through Madam, we can get.
Unless you contact Madam.
Okay.
Please, Mr. Emmanuel answer here. Mr. Emmanuel Edu answer.
Kokuyabua, please mute.
Hello? Hello? Hello?
Hello.
Hello, sir. Brother Henry.
Yes, please, I'm listening.
Please, I was not throughout the first week. The second week to my network was bad. So I want to ask which software they are using for the HTML data document creation.
You can use, there's no exact one, but you can use any of the text editors, like Notepad++, Sublime.
Notepad++.
Sublime will do VS Code, any of them that you want to use.
Okay. All right. Thank you. And the same
You're
thing you
welcome,
use
sir.
for the table creation.
Yes, once it's a text editor, you can use any of them. I am personally
right.
using VS Code.
VS Code.
Yeah, and
All right.
I'm using VS Code and Sublime.
VS Code. All right.
Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome, sir.
You're all right. Okay, then bye for now.
Okay, bye.